Good, yeah. It's when you look at all the different perspectives at the same time, simultaneously. So you're looking at different viewpoints or different points of view all at once. So you see the profile of a nose, the forward shot of a nose at the same time. That's what gives it that crazy look. Good. Then the next day, after we looked at some of his work, the next day what did we do? On Tuesday. This is step 2. So we looked at all his work, and then we did what? Yes.
Developed ideas.
Good. We developed ideas. And we did it by brainstorming. We thought, okay, who are we going to paint? Who are we going to create this portrait? Who's going to be our subject? Is it going to be us? Is it a self-portrait? Is it going to be somebody else? And then what else did we decide besides our subject? What else did we decide? Yes?
The mood.
The mood. What emotion is our subject going to have? What mood are we going to have in this piece? And there's one last thing that we decided on, or we thought about, we brainstormed on. The subject, the mood that we wanted to convey, and excellent, how we were going to do it. How are we going to convey that mood? Were we going to use specific colors? Were we going to use bright colors, subdued colors, monochromatic? What were we going to do? So yesterday, we were in step 3. What did we do yesterday? We took pictures, exactly. Now, if we were a little bit more artistically gifted, a little more artistically talented, we wouldn't have necessarily been taking pictures. We would have been doing what? Sketching, exactly. So in that step 3, when we're exploring our options and really trying to figure out how do we want this thing to look, it's part of the brainstorming idea, we would be sketching. But we used the tools that we have, and we decided to take pictures that we're now going to trace. That leads us into step 4. So step 4, we're now ready to really get our ideas down. We're ready to get the rough draft moving. So yesterday I asked you, as you were taking your photos, to look through the photos and see if you had features that you thought would be appropriate for your portrait. Were you able to get a couple good shots of an eye? Were you able to get a couple good shots of a mouth? Were you able to get them from different angles and so on? Okay? So we're going to do that today. I'm going to show you how to do it first, and then we can do it, and I'll come around and take a look and see how you're doing. We will do a peer review on this step as well, but don't worry if we don't get to it today. We have time in the schedule to finish that tomorrow. Okay, so what I've done here is I've set up my pictures as if I were tracing from my iPad, and I've already planned out where I want them to be. Now, in my example that I showed you earlier over here, I was showing myself in a fun, jovial, mirthful mood. For my second portrait, I'm going to do more of a contemplative type feel, more of a thoughtful, more of that I'm thinking inside myself, thinking about what I see and what I hear. So I've already placed my features. I've selected my features from a variety of photographs, and I've placed them where I want them. So I spent a lot of time yesterday looking at the computer, moving the image on the PowerPoint, looking at it on the screen, moving it, and looking at it, moving it, and looking at it. You guys have it a little bit easier because all you have to do is move your paper on the iPad. But I've planned this carefully. I don't want you just to think, oh, she just threw it up there. I've planned it very carefully where I want it. And there's a reason as to why I've put everything where I have. So I want to start with an eye. For me, that's easy because it kind of grounds the piece, but you can start with any feature you want, okay? So if I go through and I'm going to trace the eye, because I just want the eye in this piece, I don't want the nose or anything, I'm going to take my pen. You're going to use pencil. I'm using pen because it's easier for you to see, but you'll use pencil. I'm going to hold the pencil or the pen way back towards the rear, like back here, so up by the eraser. If you hold it over here like you would if you were writing, you're going to get a thick, dark line. That's not what we want. We want super light, super kind of fluffy, sketchy lines. So I'm going to hold my pen back a little bit. It's going to give me more of a lighter feel. So just really, really light, just a sketch right now. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to trace the outline of my eye. But I'm going to add a little bit of detail. So I see this little kind of area of skin. I'm going to put that in. Then I'm going to get some of the shading in here. Again, that doesn't have to be perfect. Like that's not perfect. Just kind of so I know that's the dark part. And get my pupil there. And I want to get this little reflection. So I know the rest of this is dark. Get this shading bit right through here. And then I think I'll get my eyebrow too. Okay, so it doesn't have to be perfect, just a quick sketch. And then make sure you take it off the iPad, take a look at it, see, okay, does it look right? If you need to go back and retrace again, you can. You can fix something. If you didn't like the way something looked, you can change it. Okay? Then you go on to your next feature. So you decide, okay, well now I'm going to create my eye, my other eye. And this eye, I'm putting way kind of, like I'm putting it so that I'm looking like in the opposite direction. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to signify, or I want to show that my eye is like my thoughts. So if I'm looking kind of up or the wrong way, I'm drawing attention to the idea that I kind of get lost in my thoughts sometimes. Okay, so it doesn't have to be perfect, just quick sketches. Okay? My mouth I placed down here. What do you notice about it immediately? It's upside down, absolutely. Why would I do that? You have to have a reason as to why you're doing things. Now, the reason I did the mouth upside down is because I wanted to show that sometimes when I look at things, I see things totally unexpectedly. I see things in a way that's different than how other people see them sometimes. So like if I think about something, I might come to a totally different conclusion than most of the people in the room. So I wanted to show that by putting my mouth upside down. So again, super quick sketch. And you can take a little bit more time with this. I've already done this a few times. So then I'm going to move on to my nose. Now my nose I've decided I want to do from two different angles. And the reason I want to do my nose from two different angles is to show that when I do look at things in this unique, different way, I do look at them from multiple angles. When I think of something, I don't just think of like this person's point of view. I think of this person's point of view and this person's point of view and this person's point of view. So I'm doing my nose from different points of view to try to show that. So when I do my nose, and I've already kind of planned this out. I've thought this out. This isn't just me throwing a picture up here. I've already planned this out and thought it out. Okay, that's one part of the nose, maybe just to show the... And then I've already placed this second shot of my nose. Notice this one is kind of a 3/4 pose. And this one is definitely a profile. I've placed it right there because I wanted these two lines to kind of make a solid nose. So I specifically thought about those two lines kind of intersecting like that. Okay? So when I'm done, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. When I'm done, I end up with a piece that has all of my features on it. And then I went through and I added another set of eyes just to show that I really am observant. Notice how I did the features first. And then I went back and I did the head shape. There's no face shape here yet. So do your features first and then do your face shape. Otherwise you feel confined. The very last thing I did was the hair. Yes, Kelly?
Are we doing this on like a regular sheet of paper?
Yes, yeah. You're going to use white paper. Now what we've discovered is I do have to leave the lights on because some people are still manipulating photos, or maybe as you're drawing you'll figure out you need a photo. And I can't open the blinds because we're on lockdown. But I'll leave the center lights on so that you have the light. But feel free to move to either the back or the front of the classroom. The front works really well, so feel free to move towards the front of the classroom. You can move your desk or just your body to trace. That makes it a lot easier to trace, especially if you're sitting kind of right where Dara is, right through there. It's kind of hard to trace there because the lights are immediately over you. Okay? So you're going to look for your features, plan them out, have a reason for why you're putting each feature where you are, and then sketch it out nice and light, and then draw your face shape. And your face doesn't have to be perfect, right? My lips go right off my face here. Somebody in the last period had a very angular face, and it looked great. Questions? Okay. All right, so some technical clues or some technical hints for you. When you are tracing, your screen is a capacitive screen. That means that it responds to your body heat. Roby? It responds to your body heat. And that's including your palm, okay? So when you are tracing, if you're having if you're trying to get it just right, you may actually hit it through the paper and your image will move. So you have to be very careful about that. A way that would help, or a technique that some artists use, we're lucky that our cases actually are off our screen just a little bit. Put your paper on the screen and then use like a pencil or use a fingernail to hold the paper flush to the screen. Then put a ruler or the protractor over the screen and rest your hand here. So I'll show you. I'm left-handed, so I'm going to show it from the left-handed view. But if I'm using my iPad and I rest my hand on the ruler, it's not touching the screen. So you may want to grab a protractor so that you're not moving your image all over the screen as well. Okay? All right, so feel free, zoom, upside down, flip, backwards. Just have a reason for everything you're doing, and I'm going to come around and take some look-sees. Paper and protractors will be over there. I also have a couple pencils over here. I don't have pencils for everybody, but I do have some. Can you use this one? Oh. Okay.